What's going on, guys? Big Mike, D717 Outlaw back with you here. Not sure when this video is going to come out, so either way, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, wherever this falls into place. But we're back out working in the garage, finally starting to tinker with things. So we are tearing into the turbo bike. I did not get the engine stand quite yet from Schnitz. I'm got to wait because I overspent a little bit on people for Christmas this year. So pretty much what we're going to be doing today is kind of finalizing the initial teardown. So, well, yeah, let's just dive into it. I'll show you guys what I got done so far. I was going to do a time lapse, but my camera decided to act weird. So as you can already tell, we stripped the body off. We pulled the charge box and we started disconnecting wiring. So we have up top, we have our coils disconnected. Went over here on the back side, we have the injector harness hanging off to the side. I was going to pull these out completely. I pulled them out to disconnect the center section for the RCC system, which is the fuel pressure regulated system, has that 1-to-1 boost compensated regulator on there. So that is staying on. I was going to disconnect it, but honestly, those lines do not want to come off of the barbs that are on that center section. So went ahead, took the fuel rail off, disconnected the center section, put the fuel rail back in with the injectors. And the biggest thing with this, or the reason being, is because temporarily we're going to keep everything hooked up. Probably once I get the engine completely out, because right now it's pretty much disconnected. I think I only have, I think I just have to get that water pump, this piece here that connects to the cooling system. If I can pull that out, it's probably going to leak everywhere, but I did drain the cooling system. There's not a lot in there. There's like a gallon of coolant. So there's still coolant in the system, but if we can get that disconnected, that should be everything. I pretty much kept all the accessories hooked up. I just disconnected the wires because the motor should still drop out with that stuff attached. Actually, I do have to disconnect the throttle before I forget about that. But we're going to go ahead and drop that. And then the motor should be good to come out. And I'm probably going to need help, so this ain't happening today. But get the motor out. We're going to put it over on the table for now until I get this engine stand. And then that's about it. I do have to actually, now I thought about it, because the turbo is still on it, I have to disconnect the charge pipes. We're probably just going to disconnect it right here at the turbo. And then just kind of let this piece either here or slide it out and put it off to the side. But once that comes off, we can start diagnosing the transmission. I can probably diagnose the trans without the engine stand, but in case it is more in depth of a teardown, I'm probably going to need that engine stand so I can really kind of not have to flip the motor around every time or flop it on its side. I do want to check with Schnitz just to make sure that, I would assume that the mount can take it, because if I remember right, their engine stand uses this rear mount, or the top rear mount on the motor. It should be able to hold that plus the extra weight of the turbo and the manifold. So we're kind of going to try to pull it all out in one piece. That way it's literally just put it back in, plug some stuff in, and we're ready to roll for the next time around. But yeah, we're going to tear into it a little bit more, try and get the rest of this out. And yeah, made pretty good progress. Didn't take me that long, only messed with it about an hour, and got everything disconnected. Fuel rail disconnected. I got the battery, or at least the starter, disconnected. A lot of this stuff is going to stay in here because it kind of helps me with putting it back together, because I already know, oh, well, this goes right here. There's nothing I really have to second guess it. I know how I have everything routed in this bike, or at least for the most part. So it should be a pretty easy process. Biggest thing up here is making sure that everything up here is good, which honestly, it all is. It's just the coil plugs. Part of the, I believe that is the launch master, is this harness here, which goes to the coils, that activates our two-step. And yeah, just give everything a once over, make sure it's disconnected. That way I don't have to test the tensile strength of a connector that is still plugged in whenever this thing comes out. So yeah, we did get the oil pressure disconnected. So yeah, we're made some pretty good headway. Just gotta finalize it and get it out. All right, guys. Well, a couple days later, because we skipped Christmas, I hope everybody had a very great Christmas. And if you are not celebrating Christmas, happy Hanukkah, because I know that started on Christmas Day. But anyway, we are getting back into working on the bike. So we got everything disconnected. I went ahead and have that water line disconnected on the side of the bike. Got another, I believe it's the oil pressure sensor that used to be my old O2 sensor. That is all disconnected. So literally the only thing that we have to do right now, which I'm hoping that I can get a couple buddies to help, hopefully, is I'm going to unbolt the motor because I have blocks underneath it. Once the motor is unbolted, I should be able to hopefully lift the rear of the chassis up to make it clear the frame, because all I need to do is get the top end of the motor, the throttle bodies and all that, to clear the frame, and I should be able to slide the motor out from underneath and then drop the chassis back down. Then I'll have a roller sitting in the shop, but I'll have the motor off and either on the bike stand or it's going to go on the workbench, one or the other. But that's on the agenda today. Right now I'm by myself. I'm going to see if a couple guys reply to hopefully come over and give me a hand. If not, we're going to try to do this by ourselves. Not sure how fun that's going to be, but let's get into it. We have to get this motor out ASAP because I want to get everything inspected on it, make sure that if I need to replace anything, I can get it with plenty of time to spare. But also, if there's anything major, then I can start putting things together. So yeah, let's get into it. The motor, as far as I've seen, everything that needs to be connected, disconnected is done. We just have to unbolt it from the frame and then figure out how to get the motor out of the frame. Because with the blocks underneath, it shouldn't really move anywhere. It should just unbolt, pull all the bolts and the support shafts, I believe, out. And then the bike should just sit where it is. So let's go ahead and get started. Well, one, I didn't know that my radio is still going to play music with my phone connected and playing and recording a video. But so, because I almost forgot to do this, got to pull the air shifter off because I used one of the mounts to attach our air shifter, so I gotta pull that off yet. But I have the front two mounts loose. I just have to do, I believe, this upper right here, which is a 8 millimeter Allen, and then this here should be a 17 millimeter socket. And I think that's about it for this side. I don't think there's very many mount points on this. Oh, never mind. There's one down here. Almost forgot about that. So once that's out, we should be good because the other big nut on there is the swing arm pivot joint. So that one can stay on, making it the rolling chassis. So one quick little detour, pull that air shifter bolt out, and then we'll be good. Well, a quick little kind of tool plug here from Motion Pro. If you guys can get these, they can be a little pricey depending on who you order them from. These Motion Pro, I guess it's a spanner nut, I believe is what they technically call it. I just call it a castle nut because I'm used to the nut that has the little prongs on the top. Typically, it's like a lock nut for like your rear axle and things like that. But these Motion Pro tools, this is for your frame. This is for your swing arm because this is the pivot arm nut. And then I believe this is for the, what do you want to call it? Oh, actually, I'd say that they're the same, but you can see that these teeth are different sizes. But this is for the swing arm, this is for the frame. But we have the lower rear mount out, the upper rear mount out. The other tools that you're going to need for that is, there is a kind of a sleeve that compresses those spacers. You're going to need a 14 millimeter here and here. Then you go up and you need, I do have to get this one out yet, but we have an 8 millimeter with a sleeve. This does have this sleeve here. You do have to loosen this nut here, which is a 6 millimeter. Slide the sleeve over. That gives you the gap between the frame and the motor. Go on the other side. This one is, again, a 8mm here. I have to pull out this 8mm as well. And then you just have your upper rear mount here, which is basically just the hex head end of that larger rod over there, and then the shorter rod is your lower one. Same thing, it's just the hex head, and it's actually underneath where your kickstand would be mounted. So slide that out, slide this out, pull these two off. I have to pop the, I almost forgot about the throttle linkage, which isn't all that hard to get to, but pop these off and the motor should be ready to drop out. Well, and I got to pull these two uppers. But yeah, so you got two in the front, two up top, two in the rear, 6 mounts total to pull the motor out of this thing. Doesn't seem that bad, but the biggest way is going to be how are we going to get the motor low enough to get it out from underneath the bike. So just do it, keep rolling. Another update on the tools. So there was a slight thing. I didn't realize that there was another castle nut up here. Then you would need a 12mm Allen to loosen that sleeve, which again, sandwiches the motor. So the motor, for the most part, when it comes to sleeves like these to go against the block itself, the motor sits more that side, bolted directly to it. And then these sleeves on this side make up the difference. So just so you have that point of reference that any of the sleeves are all on the right side of the motorcycle, the direct bolts are on the left side. So we have everything loose. We have the throttles disconnected, or the throttle cable disconnected. And right now we have a motor that is freely, you can kind of see there, but we have the motor freely away from the frame. The only thing, again, that we are going to, at least that I'm going to need help with, is I have to either, the plan is going to be, if I can get a couple buddies to come here and help me, is going to be maybe if I can get 3 guys, 1 guy pick up the rear of the bike, 2 guys pick up the front, and we could possibly, and then maybe have 1 person hold and make sure that the motor's good, is to almost literally just lift the entire rolling chassis off of the bike. Granted, this will be down, so we'll be at better height, but pull the entire chassis up over the motor, and then we can get the motor off onto the stand, or at least onto the table for now. But yeah, motor's loose. Now we just got to figure out how to get it out without hurting anything, because I don't want to drop it on the pan. I don't want to drop it on the turbo, the exhaust. I just don't want to drop it in general because it's cast aluminum. We got to watch, make sure that we don't hurt anything, because if it breaks, you can't really weld it. If it was a different type of metal, there's a chance that it could be welded, but I don't trust cast aluminum to be welded like that. So it's kind of where we sit. Motor is loose. It is free from the chassis. We just have to get it completely out of the chassis onto the workbench. Well, guys, after a good bit of work, it took 4 of us, because the way that I did this probably wasn't the easiest, but hey, the motor is out. Turbo Bike's heart is out. She's off the lift. The motor is up on the workbench. Now, kind of thank everybody that came over. So Brad, Payson's dad, thank you guys for helping me out with this, and for emotional support, the one chilling in her chair back there. Hey. But we got the motor out pretty much as is. Like, we kept the throttle bodies on, the turbo's still hooked up, so that way it should be easy to just go. More than likely, the easy way I'm going to put this back in is to suspend the bike off of the ground and put the motor on the ATV lift and just pick the motor up underneath the chassis from the front end. It should be able to work, like pull the forks and all that stuff, and just slide the motor up under. That way we don't have to worry about finagling it back in the way that we just took it out, because it was not pretty. I should have had a time lapse so you guys could have seen that process, but 1, I didn't really think of it, but 2, the time lapse on my phone's been kind of giving me troubles. But the motor's out. We can start the transmission inspection. Again, going over what the transmission issue could be is, since there was no parts or pieces in the oil when I did the oil change, I don't think it destroyed a gear. We put a dial indicator on the output shaft. It didn't have deflection or anything like that saying that the output shaft is bent. So I don't think it's that. So the only other option that it could be is either a shift fork rod is bent and it's not allowing the forks to go where they need to, or it's a bent fork not allowing it to go into gear. Which personally, it could be the shift fork because of how hard it shifted, and the bike would still move under its own power. It just struggled to go into second gear, which was the biggest one, because we launched it a few times at the track, and when I would go to hit second, it would false neutral and it wouldn't allow it to actually go into gear. So we're pretty sure that's the only issue. If it does come down to being worse, we are going to tear into the motor even further and probably do a slight overbuild in the off season. Well, maybe not the off season. It's probably going to be a long duration, but the pink bike is ready to roll for next season. So turbo bike doesn't hit the track again for a season. I'm honestly okay with that. We have the pink bike. The pink bike was extremely consistent at the end of the season, so we have a good note to start on with just jumping right back on pinky and taking it to the track. So we're going to get into the transmission in the next video, but starting off the new year with the motor out of the bike already, and all we have to do is start pulling off the inspection plates to check the forks and the fork rods. So that's where we're going to end it, guys. As always, hope you liked the video. If you do, give it a thumbs up. Anything more about the bikes or about the channel, drop your comments down below. And also check in the description for all the companies that I use for parts and everything like that. Show them some support. Most of them are big companies. There are a few smaller companies down there that can always use your support. And hit that subscribe button with the little bell for notifications. And I will see you guys in the next. Remember, ride safe, ride smart, always wear a helmet. See ya.